All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Olivia McCuskey. I am with the Education Alliance, and the Education Alliance is a statewide nonprofit, and we exist to mobilize business and community support for public schools. And we are very passionate about helping all students build career awareness so that you can be ready for future success after you leave school. And one of the ways we do that is by doing programs such as this virtual work-based learning course and this job shadow training module, which we're going to facilitate with you today. I'm very excited to welcome Dr. Carla Warren from the Department of Education and also our State Teacher of the Year, Nichols. And they will be speaking with us today about a career in education and providing you with a different perspective and talking to you about an exciting program about becoming a future educator and probably a little bit of a different perspective than what you're accustomed to as a student. So they'll not only be speaking about that program, but then towards the end of the training, we're going to learn, they're going to facilitate some training on how to work collaboratively with colleagues. So a quick outline of today's module. Again, the first 10 to 15 minutes, we will learn about the education industry and the types of careers available to you there. We'll leave some time for some Q&A. And then the following 10 to 15 minutes, we'll do a brief skill training on collaboration among your colleagues. And then we'll round it out with a final round of Q&A. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Warren and Mrs. Nichols.
Okay, thank you, Olivia. And if you will give me confirmation that you can see the screen. Give me just a moment here.
Awesome.
Can you see it?
I do see the PowerPoint.
Perfect.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. So good afternoon, Roane County High School. Thank you for the opportunity to zoom in and talk to you a little bit today about the education profession. My name is Carla Warren, and I serve as the Director of Educator Development and Support at the West Virginia Department of Education in Charleston. And just to give you a little bit of my background, I am a former classroom teacher. I spent 20 years in the classroom. I actually started out my first year in high school, but then spent several years in the elementary school. And I've worked with new teachers and national board certification, which is the highest credential a teacher can earn. And then now at the Department of Education, I actually work with several different stops along the line of a teacher's career, starting with recruiting teachers and preparing teachers, looking at how to become licensed to be a teacher in West Virginia, but then supporting new teachers and teachers who want to grow their leadership skills. And then other programs in my office include opportunities such as State Teacher of the Year, which we actually have with us today. We have the 2023 West Virginia Teacher of the Year joining us today. And then we have the Milken Educator Awards is out of my office. That's another opportunity for teacher leadership. So one of the things that we really focus on in my office is how do we support teachers and aspiring teachers. And one of the ways that we do that is to talk about the joy of teaching. So I want to share with you today a program called Grow Your Own West Virginia Pathway to Teaching. And it's an opportunity for you to actually complete a year of your college education while you are still in high school at no cost to you and to your family. But I wanted to start off today by just sharing with you a short video clip. This is the 2021 West Virginia Milken Educator. And the Milken Awards are like the Oscars of teaching. And this is Michelle Wolf, and she talks for just a few seconds about why she chose to be a teacher and what the joy of teaching means to her. So let's give her a listen.
You guys make it all worth it every single day. I think about you all the time, and everything that we do in this building is for you. I'm supposed to be someone who's good at words because I'm an English teacher, but right now they are failing me. But all I can tell you is that I hope that you guys consider being a teacher one day. Because being able to stand in a classroom and get to know kids and get to hear their stories and get to see how they grow and what wonderful people they become, that's what this job is all about. And I just can't believe that that I get to do this every day.
So this was right after she was named as the Milken Educator for West Virginia for last year, and she's talking about what it means to her to be a teacher. Just very quickly, I wanted to share a couple of pictures. Talking about a career in education, we often talk about salaries, we talk about education, but these are just 3 examples of opportunities I have had to come in contact with former students in the past year. I met one young man at a wedding. This young man is a graduate student who works for Marshall University basketball, and then another student I just ran into on the streets of Pittsburgh who had been in my 2nd grade class, and really considering a career in teaching because it brings a lot of purpose to your life and a lot of joy to your life. So in West Virginia, we have a strategic priority to make sure that every student exits the high school being able to read, write, and do math. And one of the ways that we are looking at that is to recruit and support teachers in our classrooms. When we examine some of the specific contexts in West Virginia, we have about 1,500 positions in West Virginia that are not fully certified teachers. There are not fully certified teachers in that classroom. So we have a teacher shortage in West Virginia, and you'll know from your teacher that this is a difficult job, but it's a very rewarding job. So when we think about specific challenges in West Virginia, I want to share very quickly just some key demographics. We are a largely white population in West Virginia with a median household income of about $48,000, but only 21% of our population holds a bachelor's degree or higher. So the program I'm going to share with you is really an opportunity to level the playing field for you financially. So some specific challenges we face in West Virginia. When you look at the drug mortality rate for our population, it's skyrocketed. Babies who are born addicted to drugs, skyrocketed. Look at students who struggle economically. Over 50% of our population has students who are living in poverty. If you look at our foster care numbers, they have continued to rise. Our number of students who are identified as homeless, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're living on the street, but they're probably living with grandparents or living with cousins or living in doubled up families, not in a single family household. But then when we compare that to the number of teachers who are teaching out of their content area, we see it's almost doubled in the last 7 years. So one of the biggest challenges we have in West Virginia and across the country is how do we make sure that every child, no matter whether they're in Roane County or Monongalia County or Cabell County or McDowell County, has a well-prepared teacher in every classroom every year, no matter where they live. So at your convenience, I encourage you to go to the Teach WV website, which is on our West Virginia Department of Education website. And you can put in no degree or diploma, or if you had an associate's degree or a bachelor's degree, and it will show you all of the pathways available to become a teacher in West Virginia. We have actually 4 different pathways in place, and you can read more about that at your convenience. But you don't have to go through a traditional 4-year college to become a teacher in West Virginia. If you have other credentials, you can sometimes use those to continue to get your teaching license. But what we're trying to do here in West Virginia is we're trying to create optimum conditions so that you as a student, and we're talking to your superintendent about this right now because Roane County currently is not participating, but we want to create conditions so that we can say to you as a high school student, if you will commit to be a teacher in West Virginia, we will pay for your college education, and we will actually pay you through the apprenticeship model to become a teacher in West Virginia. And that's through what's called a grow your own model. So I want to quickly share with you what that looks like. So it's really a student progression from high school to your bachelor's degree with classroom experience and employment. And I encourage you as high school students, even if you don't think you want to be a teacher, or if you consider it but you're not sure, or if you have already decided you want to be a teacher, you can take advantage of these dual credit courses, and we will pay for those. We will pay for all of your dual credit coursework in high school. So even if there's just a tiny bit of you that says, I think I might like to be a teacher, please consider checking out this Grow Your Own Pathway that I'm hoping Dr. Duncan will participate in the next year. So the Grow Your Own pathway is really just an opportunity for a high school student to complete 1 year of college while they're still in high school. So you have dual credit courses in English, algebra, biology, US history. So those are 4 courses. And then in this last column, we have 4 courses that students can take that will prepare them to enter a career in education. So child development, educational psychology, trauma-informed education, or social, emotional, mental well-being, which we all can benefit from. But in this pathway, you would actually complete 24 credit hours in your junior and senior year of high school at no cost to you. And then if you go to one of the partner institutions, you would already have 1 year of your college education completed before you start college. And so you really get 1 year of college for free if you are going to pursue a degree in education. So let's say you take these courses and you decide you don't want to be a teacher, you still have knocked out 4 of your core academic courses at no cost to your family. Then you would go to the university, complete your college education, and we're working on funding for that. We actually have a bill in the legislature right now that would support us to be able to pay your entire college tuition for your college education. And then in that last year, you would come back as a teacher to Roane County, and you would have a lot of support from the county and from a university partner, but you would actually be able to complete your teaching degree with one year in high school, 2 years in college. So really, you're reducing it to 3 years total, but that last year you would be earning a salary as a teacher. So another piece of this exciting initiative is that we are a registered apprenticeship in West Virginia for teaching. So if you think about registered apprenticeship, you might think about an electrician or a welder, but we actually have an apprenticeship program for teachers. And this will allow us to actually pay you to become a teacher while you are completing your college education and your high school experience. So if you go out into the schools, we can pay you a salary for going out into the schools. So not only would we pay for your college education, but we would pay you a salary to complete your experiences when you're out in the school. So looking at becoming a teacher in West Virginia, we're talking from our perspective of how can we eliminate barriers for you? How can we make sure that your dual credits transfer to another institution? How can we make sure that you have the mentoring and the tutoring to be successful with dual credit coursework or to pass your licensure exams? We're reducing the cost and reducing the length of time for you to become a teacher in West Virginia, but then also making sure that we are elevating the teaching profession. As I shared at the very beginning, many times you hear negative comments about the education profession. I've been in education for 35 years. I can't imagine doing anything other than being a teacher. And teaching is a very rewarding career because you will have students that will be in your life forever to come back and talk to you about the impact that you made on them as a person and on their education. So looking at what those cost benefits would look like to you if you would choose to pursue this pathway, we will cover all of your dual credit coursework. You will get a paid salary in your final year when it's called your clinical year, when you're actually out in the schools. The apprenticeship wages, you would be being paid for on-the-job training. We'll pay for your licensure exams and give you support to prepare for those. And then our goal, we're not there yet, but our goal is to be able to actually pay for your college tuition in the second and third year of this pathway. I want to share with you a video that really sums up what this pathway looks like. This is a national news show called Matter of Fact with Soledad O'Brien, and it was published last fall, but this follows the path of a student in McDowell County, the southernmost county in West Virginia, who is participating as a Grow Your Own student. So I want to share this with you so you can see just a really broad overview of what this program looks like in action.
I'm Soledad O'Brien. Welcome to Matter of Fact. Teachers are in demand as school districts across the country try to desperately fill vacancies. According to a Brown University study, schools need more than 36,000 teachers, and they're using more than 163,000 instructors who don't have appropriate certification. We've been reporting on the reasons for the shortages: the pandemic, burnout, a dramatic drop in graduates with education degrees, and that leaves districts looking for creative ways to attract teachers. In Alabama, some schools are offering bonus pay up to $10,000 for math and special education teachers. Tennessee is allowing districts to hire non-certified teachers, and retired teachers can return without losing their retirement benefits. San Francisco is helping teachers with mortgage down payments up to $40,000. For McDowell County in the Appalachian Mountain region of West Virginia, teacher vacancies are nothing new. Our correspondent, Jessica Gomez, traveled to McDowell County to see what's being done to try to get teachers into the classrooms.
Come on, Winter.
The Kennedy family out the door before the sun comes up.
It's dark when we leave and it's dark when we get home.
They live in Wyoming County, West Virginia, but spend about 2 hours in the car to and from work in neighboring McDowell County.
We love kids. That's why we do what we do.
And there she is.
The Kennedys, among about 1/3 of the teachers and administrators at the McDowell County School District who commute from other counties.
Very good.
Terry, a special education teacher, and Tim, an assistant principal.
Where are you going for first period right now?
And they're desperately needed. Substitutes now covering the nearly 36 vacant teaching positions this year. Associate Superintendent Ingrida Barker.
We have principals subbing, we have central office sometimes coming in to help out just because we need that coverage.
The two properties I'm going to go over today.
This class learning math virtually, sharing a teacher with another high school. And in the gym, students supposed to be in English class. But there are no English teachers this year, and both long-term subs out for the day.
Every single day and night you think, how can you make it better for them?
Making things better for the remote county nestled in the Appalachian Mountains. Those here weary of the stories told so often about McDowell County, about the loss of coal mining jobs and poverty, the families ravaged by the opioid epidemic, the lack of housing and things to do.
What's the next word?
Recruiting and retaining teachers here has always been tough. And then the pandemic.
It's a salary problem. It's a workforce development problem.
In Charleston at the West Virginia Department of Education, Dr. Carla Warren.
There must be a shift, because if we do not address the talent pool, if we do not address the teacher pipeline, we're going to see permanent damage to our economy.
You can't make a change if you can't start from within.
So the state turning to high school students like Lakin Siebold, the daughter of a coal miner.
And by the end of this module, we will definitely have a better idea.
She's part of a pilot program in McDowell and 30 other districts in West Virginia, connecting high schools with state universities to fast-track students toward degrees in education.
They can complete 1 year of their college education towards a bachelor's degree in education at no cost to that student while they're still in high school.
The hope, students will come back to their home districts their senior year in college, get paid as resident teachers, and stay on.
The point is to have students who know and love the area, who are from here, and have a stake in the future of our area to come back and educate our children.
This is a big boost to downtown Welch.
And glimmers of hope, new housing will attract those teachers. The American Federation of Teachers behind the decade-long $9 million effort to demolish an old building here and, in its place, build an apartment complex for teachers.
In order to attract and retain young people to move into the county, that there had to be some housing.
But like much else here, it's been a struggle. So far, only a handful of renters are teachers.
8, 9, 10.
The Kennedys will soon be among them.
I love my students. I think that
they would love to see us around.
The first thing we have to do is build those relationships, and we have to be visible for that to happen.
That would kind of work for foundation too.
Lake and Seabolt inspired to do the same.
You can't say, oh, it's so bad, and then just move away and forget about it forever. I want to go into schools and I want to make an impact on some students' life.
An impact that might finally change the story of McDowell County.
So I think you probably can see some similarities between Roane County and McDowell County when you think about the opportunities and the ability to go back into your home county and make a difference.
In West Virginia.
So when we listen to what the U.S. Secretary of Education says, he says that we know for our students to be successful that we need a well-prepared, well-supported, well-compensated educator workforce. So as an educator, we really can't look at this as an only education problem. It's something that is going to require support from all our government, from our legislature, from our business community, because we really feel an urgency to impact the future of our students tomorrow. So as I share this information and the challenges that we're facing in West Virginia, I want to stop sharing my screen for a moment and allow you to have an opportunity to hear from our 2023 West Virginia State Teacher of the Year. And let me just preface this by saying that Ms. Nichols actually competed with teachers from all other counties in West Virginia to represent, she just got back from California. She's representing West Virginia on a national stage and has an opportunity to talk about what teaching means to her, and while we encourage you to consider a career in education. So Amber, I turn it over to you.
I'll say, Dr. Warren and
Sure.
Ms. Nichols, if you don't mind, I think right now might be a good time to pause and see if our students have any questions about the Grow Your Own program or about education in general. Students, I'll kind of give you a moment if you want to think of a question or two. I'll start us off with a question. What year in high school do you need to let your counselors or someone know that you're interested in the Grow Your Own program?
Well, the first step for Roane County students is that you need to reach out to your superintendent and let him know that you are interested in participating, because we are in our pilot year. This is our first year, and we have 35 counties participating, and Roane County is not one of those counties currently. So the first thing I would do is to reach out to Dr. Duncan and say, hey, I want this opportunity for myself or for my fellow students. Once that Roane County commits to participating, then the Department of Education would put all of the pieces in place so that you could register for your courses. Now, in this pathway, ideally, you would start in your junior year, and in your junior and senior year, you would complete the core academic dual credit courses, but you would also complete one of the Ed Foundation courses, one each semester of your junior and senior year. And the Department of Education will pay for those courses for students enrolled in the Grow Your Own pathway. So really the first step for you is to get this program in your county.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Warren.
Sure. Hello, Roane County. Thanks so much for letting me come into your classroom today. I am so excited to talk about teaching. It is absolutely the best profession in the world. And I can say that to you proudly after 20 years of being in my kindergarten classroom here in Monongalia County. There is no place that I would rather be than right here in room 117, learning and growing with my students. I am well aware of the responsibility that I have, but it's the coolest thing to get to be someone's person. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today. I want you all to think about that one teacher that made a difference in your life. And I'm going to give you a second to kind of get that picture in your head of that one teacher that really made a difference for you. And I'm going to tell you about mine. Mine is Coach Keller. Now, I am from just up the road from you guys. I am from Doddridge County. Go Bulldogs. I went to Doddridge County High School, and Coach Keller taught college algebra. I know that sounds thrilling, doesn't it? Now, I know I'm a teacher, and I am Teacher of the Year, so I'm supposed to tell you that I love all subjects and everything is great, right? But I don't like math. Don't tell Dr. Warren, okay? I don't like math, but Coach Keller made me feel like I was the best mathematician in the room. And I know you have a teacher like that. Coach Keller had this magic ability to make every single student be a mathematician. He brought math to all of his students, and he actually made me like math for just a little bit. Don't tell him I said that, though. He was also a really good example of what a good human was, and that's what I wanted to be for my students. I wanted to be a good role model for kids. Because I love this quote, and it says, "Our fingerprints don't fade from the lives we touch." So I want you to fast forward a few years, and now I get to be that person who provides magic for all of my students. A few years ago, I got a frantic phone call from a mom. She was at the emergency room with her daughter, who was a student of mine. And her daughter, my student, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And they were teaching the little girl how to do finger sticks. And she said that the only way that she could learn was if Mrs. Nichols was there. So as soon as school was over, I rushed to the hospital and I pulled her on my lap, and we learned together how to do finger sticks. So I want you to imagine what it feels like to get to be someone's person, just like I was for that little girl, just like Coach Keller was for me, and just like your teacher was for you. I am a Head Start kid. Now, I don't know if you know what Head Start is, but it's a program for low-income families to help them succeed in school through local programs. So because I'm a Head Start kid, I got to start school at the age of 3. I am the first person in my family to graduate from college. So having a program like Grow Your Own would have absolutely been a no-brainer for me. I would have jumped on that as soon as I possibly could. I've gone on to obtain my master's degree, and I plan to start my doctorate as soon as my year of service with Teacher of the Year is over, because there's no greater gift than you can get than education. So I encourage all of you, if there's just an inkling that you want to be a teacher, really try to pursue this. It's really important. We need good people in the field, and this is such a great way to get the experience you need to get to be somebody's person. All right. Thank you so much for letting me share my experience with you. I wish you guys the best of luck, and I can't wait to see you guys in the classroom someday.
Awesome.
Current slide. Okay. So looking at the activity, I was thinking about any workforce development, even if you don't decide to be a teacher. As you exit high school, you're going to go into a career, and you very well may be working with individuals who are from other generations. And I really find it fascinating when you look at the characteristics of someone from another generation. So I know I'm telling you way too much, but I'm a Generation Xer. So that was born between 1965 and 1980. So
I'm also a Generation Xer.
Okay.
I'm also in your group.
And my child is a Generation Z. So actually my child's a millennial. She's right at the end of the millennials. So looking at a career, when you go into your workplace, even it might be a workplace now, even if you were to work in a fast food or a Walmart, work somewhere as a high school student, you most likely are working with individuals from other generations. So if we look back at our baby boomers, individuals born between 1946 and 1964, this may be your grandparents. Looking at Generation Xers, such as myself, born between 65 and 80, and then millennials, and then of course you're a Generation Z, born between 2001 and 2020. So when you start really looking at some of the values and the ideas and the ethics and the beliefs and the learning styles, I'll give you a really quick example. So I was in a meeting this morning with Grow Your Own students from McDowell County, and the person asking the question said, if we were to write a headline about your life, what would it be? And the students, they couldn't wrap their mind around, they couldn't come up with a headline. And so the teacher leaned over and said, what about a hashtag? And immediately they were able to say, oh, this would be my hashtag. So really looking at the way we approach the world from different generations is really fascinating. So let's look at some characteristics of what that looks like. if you look at the workforce right now, we know that one size doesn't fit all. I want you to think about your workplace, your parents' workplace if you don't have one. So currently, if we look at the way that the population's broken down, there are only 2% of the people in the USA who are working that were born between 1925 and 1945. But then if you look at baby boomers, Generation X, and millennials, there is where your biggest part of the percentages of the population lie. And then you fall in this last category, and it's a 5% because most of you are not in the workforce just yet, but you will be soon. So one size doesn't fit all. So your teacher has provided you with it's called an infographic that really just gives you some characteristics of your generation and the generation of others. So we're going to look at our timeline here. We only have about 12 or 13 minutes. So what I'd like you to do is I would like you to grab a partner, and I would like you to look at the characteristics for your generation, Generation Z, and look at all the similarities between the other generations, but be prepared to look at least one other generation. Baby boomers, Generation X, or millennials. These are the people that you would most likely be working with. And be prepared to share a couple observations between your generation and one other generation. What is the same? What are the similarities? And what are the differences between the two generations? And what might be a challenge that you would face if you were working side by side with a baby boomer or a Generation Xer? So I'm looking at the clock. It says it's 1:22. Let's take about 7 minutes and have some conversation, and then we'll come back and do a final report out with Olivia.